Hello, hello. How are you all? I am back today. I am back with a tutorial, a technique tutorial, as opposed to a project from start to finish. So this technique I actually saw recently on YouTube. So I'm giving credit out to the crafter that I found it from, which is a lovely lady that I've just discovered over the weekend called Christine Stokes on YouTube, who showed us this technique of how to make really beautiful prints using real flowers that have naturally dropped from your local park or your garden perhaps. These came from my local park on my morning dog walk. There wasn't a huge choice, but I haven't done this technique before, so it's a great way to start. This one has actually closed up since this morning, but what I do know is that I will need to chop these buds off because I have practiced a plate combination through my cuttle bug and the buds do not allow the sandwich to go through whilst in there. So I will be losing the buds, and then we'll place the petals over the card and see how we get on. For this technique I am using just my little cuttle bug. I don't actually get on too great with this machine. I had one many years ago which I did get on with. I passed that on, stopped crafting, came back to crafting, and picked this up pre-loved in a fantastic craft charity store. However, it is very stiff, very hard to use. Sorry, dog barking in the background. So for this machine it's perfect because there'll be no love lost where a mess is made. So on that subject, it can create quite a mess because the juices are naturally extracted from the flowers. So I would recommend if you've got a lot of love for your machine. Sorry, one moment. Sorry, it doesn't matter what you do and how you plan these things. There's always a noise in the background that you just can't stop, is there? So I'm apologising now again for the barking dog in the background. As I was saying, if you're very precious about your machine, understandably so, because they are huge investments, then I would suggest using a scrap piece of paper, which I did have, but I don't know where mine. Oh, here we go. It's actually underneath. There we go. And just putting your scrap piece of paper on your through the mouth of the machine, and that will catch all the excess moisture that the pressure draws from the flowers. So what we're going to do is I'll pop my plates aside and let's first lay the flowers out. So as I said previously, I will be chopping the buds off because they do not allow for the flower to go through the machine, and I don't want to tell anyone to be doing this technique for them to then break their machine by forcing the buds through. They are far too thick. I've tried it many plate combinations. There's no way them buds are going through. Perhaps with a electronic machine, but I didn't want to risk it on the electronic machine. So this is fine, just be warned, just play, depending on what machine you have, play around, see what plate combinations work for you. And then we just are going to go in, lay the petals around. There's no particular fashion here, just very randomly place them over our piece of card. And then I think I'll get rid of that because that is the stamen is quite thick. Again, problematic for the machine. And then I think that will suffice. So I've laid that out onto a piece of A5 card to go through my machine, depending on how many petals you have and what machine you're working with. Depends on what card obviously you're going to need. I didn't want to overdo it. That is quite full, isn't it? I will sandwich that in between. I'll place another piece of the same card on top, and then I'll bring in my plates. So for this machine we've got the base plate. I'm not too familiar, so I don't know what that's called, but you'll know by looking which plate that is. Then it's a C plate, and then I have, well, let me lay that down first. So that is my sandwich of petals. Then I've got 4 pieces, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this was all an experiment prior, and I know this works, but again, you will need to play and see what works best for your machine. So there's 4 pieces of scrap card, another folded in half, so let's say 6, and then 2 pieces of grey board. I'm going to place them all together, bring in my machine, and then this is where the magic happens. We're going to pop that through the machine. Now at this point you could see the moisture from the flowers drop out, run out of this part here, or indeed here, although most likely the excess, the most of it will be in this part. And what I'm going to do to get the most out of it, I'm going to go through once, and then I'm going to go back and make sure that we've got what we can from them flowers, them petals. And then let's remove our combination and the scrap piece of card and put my machine aside. I'm just going to put that on the floor out of the way. It's such a bulky old machine. And then it is time for the reveal. So all that we do, take away our sandwich other than our sheets of card, and then just prise the 2 pieces of card away. Now the petals do become quite sticky, so they will be quite firmly, or they will be stuck together. Just move that as well. But that is the sort of result that you may get. This is what I've got from mine. And at this point, I'm just going to remove with my hands the excess petals. Look at that. Really beautiful natural colours coming through already there. Just take away the excess. And wow, I'd love it if I could actually leave the petals on there, but oopsie. I don't know. I'll have to try again by leaving some of the petals. Like this one is pretty much almost completely stuck down. It'd be lovely to see when it fully dries what that result would look like. But for now, I'm just going to remove all of the the petals. And then what you need to do then is, the last step is just leave the card to dry. In fact, yeah, let's remove that. Leave the card to dry. Oh, it's very sloppy, that piece. And get yourself a scraper. Now it doesn't have to be a specific scraping tool. I do have the woodware scraper to hand, so I will be using that, but you can use anything such as a good sturdy bit of card, a ruler perhaps, a credit card, a loyalty card. I think you'll get the idea. And then let me just get rid of this piece here. let me show you before I go in with that scraper what of the outcome we have. Look at that. It looks like it's been done with a piece of some inks, alcohol inks perhaps. Really pretty. Look at that colour. So vibrant. So with the scraper, ideally leave it to dry. However, just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to go in and scrape off all the excess. And that will leave you with a really beautiful printed piece of background card for your paper craft that has marks there where I've just dragged that through. So I'm just going to use a piece of tissue and perhaps wipe it off as you go, so as to avoid that happening like what's just happened to myself. But just, and that's pretty much all off. Yeah, and then that leaves you with a really beautiful piece of background card for your papercraft projects. So there we go. Not much to it. There's plenty of flowers and nature, shed flowers and leaves. So yes, you do need floral or natural elements which are still quite juicy for this to imprint and to have good effect, but that's what we have. With regards to this piece, I'm going to pop this on a project and I'll come back and I'll show you how it looks. For the end result, I will be popping it a card made using this piece of card on my Instagram page, so go and check out the end result. My Instagram page is Danny_doodles_, and that's where you will find the finished project using this piece of card here. I do have this piece which I'm going to dry out as well and scrape down, and I'll show you the finished result of both at some point, I'm sure. Certainly this one will be imminent. Right, oh, there's our ant friend. Hello, did I take your home? I'm so sorry. You found it again, did you? There he is, look. I feel really rotten that I've stolen his habitat. Right, okay guys, that is the end of this tutorial. As I say, originally found from Christine Stokes on YouTube, so please do check her out, and check out my Instagram, Danny_doodles_ for the end result. Right, that is me. I am going now. Thank you for joining me. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.